Coming up on a special edition of VCU InSight, documentaries from students in the VCU School of Mass Communications.
And we'll hear about a historical wall on the James River and see how it's being used today.
Veterans who serve our country and are now homeless.
And we'll bring back a documentary on auctioneers.
This special edition of VCU InSight starts right now. Hello and welcome to this special edition of VCU InSight. I'm Brian Hill.
And I'm Melissa Smith. Thanks for joining us as we feature documentaries from undergraduate students in the VCU School of Mass Communications. While many people go to the river for relaxation, others head down for thrills.
What was once an escape bridge during the Civil War is now an area for recreation. The Manchester Wall is one of the top rock climbing sites in Central Virginia and is recognized nationally.
Meet the founding developers and present-day climbers to find out what life is like living on the wall.
Why do people rock climb? Because it's terrifying, it's thrilling, exhilarating. You know, you climb and you do a difficult move or something. You feel good about yourself. And there's been a lot of times when I made the prayer, you know, oh God, if you let me survive this, I'll never do this again. Of course, next day you're out doing the same thing. I don't know, it's like church, you know. You go into church when you're out there.
The Manchester Wall is the remnant of the old Richmond and Petersburg Railroad Bridge. first built in the 1830s, I think, and then expanded in the 1880s. And it was a bridge that was comprised of a wooden tube, as it were, square wooden tube, and the train ran on top of this long shoebox across the river, with all the trains coming down the East Coast. If you came to Richmond, you had to go across this bridge. It, along with all the other bridges, were damaged, particularly in the retreat from Richmond, when the Confederate forces did a scorched earth policy, not wanting to leave anything for the invading Yankees. The rock climbing community basically developed this site.
I was climbing just off Browns Island one day with my friend Jamie and some other climbers. God, we just saw this triangular shape and said, wow, that's a pretty cool structure. Most of it was covered in kudzu. It was completely undeveloped. So we just took a little field trip over there, just a little trip over there one day to check it out. And it was like this amazing wall in the middle of downtown Richmond. And I looked at it the first time, I said, no one's ever going to climb this. It looks just too steep and too hard, not enough features, not enough holds. We started pulling the kudzu off, and suddenly all of these possibilities were revealed. And then from there, we just started climbing it and slowly putting up anchors, belay anchors at the top, and developing routes and so forth. And
really good routes, really daring guys. They put them up in the traditional style. The majority of them down there are from the ground up.
Yeah.
As you climb up, you use a hook, and you hook into the rock, and you just count on that, and you do a twister in the granite. It takes it 30 minutes. And then it came later that you would rappel down and use a hilti, 30 seconds. But a lot of those routes down there are put up from the ground up.
The thing about the Manchester Wall is you're climbing on such thin edges. You know, it's not, you don't have a lot to grab hold of, and so everything is feet and the tips of your finger, and it gets you in real good shape.
we wanted this place to be challenging and bold, and you had to be prepared to climb it, or just don't climb it, or top rope it, but don't lead it. Greg was one of the most instrumental people in getting the whole place developed through his affiliation with VCU, the VCU Outdoor Adventure Program. And I think it's that affiliation, and then just this community of climbers in Richmond got together, and just like the energy generated from the community and VCU got the thing going. And we always thought about it as our private little paradise, climbing paradise, and we like to, and I'll be truthful, that we like to claim a kind of ownership over the area. Seriously.
Not ownership, but no, we were just there earlier.
A certain kind of stewardship. How's
Stewardship.
that? Okay. Is that better?
That's better.
Yeah.
And we still feel that, but
those days are gone, Rob. I don't want to break your heart, man.
New climbers down there.
When I first started climbing at the gym, I would hear all the regulars there talk about Manchester Wall, and in my mind it got this kind of like mythical status. Ooh, I gotta check out Manchester Wall. And within the first couple of months of climbing, some of them offered to take me out and teach me some of the more advanced outdoor climbing stuff that you don't really get in the gym. And for it being an old bridge, just the bridge columns, it's really great. I really like it. It was my first experience ever climbing outside, and it's definitely one of my favorite places to come, not only for climbing, but just it's a beautiful place. It's right on the river. You can just enjoy the scenery and climb at the same time. And it's right in the heart of Richmond, which is pretty impressive.
It is the right kind of use for us, and aren't we lucky as Richmonders to have these opportunities for adventure recreation?
As you can see, the Manchester Wall has a rich history, beautiful scenery, and offers great opportunities for exercise and fun.
Current Manchester rock climbers welcome everyone to challenge themselves to see some of the history for themselves.
And as our special documentary edition of VCU InSight continues, we turn to the streets, homeless shelters, and transitional housing centers. All three are classified as types of homelessness.
And according to Homeward, a planning and coordinating organization for homeless services in Richmond, only 14% of homeless people actually live on the streets of Richmond.
And what may surprise you, 20% of homeless people have served in the military. The National Coalition for Homeless Veterans estimates that on any given night, more than 67,000 vets are homeless.
In this next documentary, we will look at the problem of homeless veterans.
It's not always the person that, gets stereotyped, projected with the dirty clothes, the nappy hair, or the stringy hair. That's not, that's just a person that, like you see in Monroe Park. Yeah. They homeless. But guess what? I could go out here and be clean like this and be homeless.
So I wasn't happy in foster care. So I seeked out my other brothers and sisters. But by the time I got to them, all those that was above me were all struggling on heroin. I really suffered because there was no stability with my brothers and sisters. They were very loving, but they could not support themselves, so they really couldn't support me. So I lived in the streets, I lived on rooftops. I had a very rough childhood.
Same day that I got my degree, same day I got my commission into the United States Navy as a junior officer. Oh my goodness, the pride that just swelled up in me at the time was just awesome.
I was too black, basically, How should I put it? Racism, yeah. Racism, a whole lot of that, especially in the Navy. And I couldn't take it, man. So they said it'd be best to sever our ties. So I said, absolutely. But under one condition, that I take my benefits with me. Because I won't go on nowhere without my benefits.
I still ended up getting good jobs, you know what I'm saying? So I wanted to stay in the military, I did. Because I enjoyed it. Who's going to pay you to travel you travel for free?
I guess you would say I ran from everything. Anytime something was not the way I thought it would be or wanted it to be, I ran. And that was with relationships, friends, jobs, everything. I ran all my life.
One of the biggest risk factors for homelessness across the board is a lack of social and support networks. So that absolutely makes sense. If someone doesn't have a supportive person in their life, whether a friend or a family member, to help them through a rough patch, then yeah, they are more likely to lose their housing.
I was sleeping in abandoned houses, going from this spot to this spot, you know what I'm saying? I was kind of raw. I was living like that. I didn't have to because my mom had left me a house. But I took my mom's house after she passed in '92, and I turned it into a crack house.
I had invited my ex-girlfriend to stay with me at the time. And that wasn't a good move. And see, the thing was the money I should have been paying my rent with, I was spending on her. And because of that, unfortunately, I had gotten evicted from my place.
I got a house for 16 years, and I lived by myself. So when I lost my house, I moved in with her. Because I lost my job, I lost my house and everything. So I moved in with her, and I knew it wasn't going to work because I lived with her before. So I knew she was going to put me out. That going on about my business, give me a room and home again, and just start all over again. And that's what I'm doing.
We talk about the service plan, which is what our rural engagement is. What are your goals? Everyone here has a goal of financial money management, because we say to them, you are not going to be able to maintain your housing if you don't know how to maintain your finances. So finances, recovery, and overall just social skills, life skills are the things that we kind of focus on while they're here.
I'm doing this because it allowed me to save money. I'm saving my money. That's all I want them to do, a place to stay and save my money.
It's more than just a roof over my head. It encouraged me to put in those applications, and they encouraged me to save my money, where I didn't have that before.
Here it's more of a relaxed home setting, a communal setting, but you're really home. And that's why it's called home again, because that is the atmosphere that it tries to create, that you are no longer in a shelter, you're home again. And the name of the program is very fitting.
But that today, you ask me today, would I want to go through that and be homeless again? No, not living. And then it's another thing, when I see people that are less fortunate than me, I always remember, you only one step away from being back where you were.
A person without their own, your own place, whether the home, your own home or your own apartment or your own room. Now, a lot of people see me today out on the street. I'm groomed, clean. I'm homeless.
This is not always the person that, gets stereotyped, projected with the dirty clothes, the nappy hair, or the stringy hair. That's not, that's just a person that, like you see in Monroe Park. Yeah. They homeless. But guess what? I could go out here, be clean like this, and be homeless. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of that is being, it's stereotypical people. They stereotype people, you know what I'm saying? You got to look a certain way. That's just like a person that used drugs. You got to look a certain, no you don't.
But to sum it all up, the worst human being on the planet still deserves to have a place to sleep. And that's about says it all for me. That all of us still need to be fed, still need to be housed, still need to be clothed no matter what.
Homeless people is not just, people that went through a bad time, had bad luck. You got people that with college degrees that are homeless, they done lost their homes and stuff. They just had hard luck. That's all to it.
No, just wait.
If I'm not working, just keep pushing, put in those applications, knock down those doors.
See y'all later. All right, thank you so much.
Every night, Home Again in Richmond provides services to 160 people, including veterans.
Besides transitional housing for homeless vets, they offer help and emergency shelters for children, women, and men.
Our special edition of VCU InSight wraps up with an encore broadcast of a documentary about folks who do some fast talking.
Over the years, auctioneering has progressed, but today it remains more popular than ever. Almost everything possible has been sold by auction. Antiques, household items, real estate, you name it, they'll auction it.
From the fast-paced bid calling many of us associate with it, to the pre-auction preparations, auctioneering is a time-honored skill that's alive and well in the Commonwealth.
Nobody knows what these are worth. All you can do is make money with it. 975, give 85, 985, all in all, 975, now 85, 85, 85 part. 975, 85, all in, all that, all through the more, not 285, 985, 85, 85, 85, 85. 285, all through.
$10 bid and now $20 bid and now $30 bid, and they taught you all about the auction chant.
Lot number 221 on the oil lamp here. What do you want to give? 10. Let's go. $10. Well, look at me 10. Or looking here now. $10. Well, look at me 5. Now 7.5. $10 again. $10 here. Yeah. 10, 12 and a half. I mean 10, 12 and a half. 10, 12 and a half.
It would have been 60. Would have been 60. 55 and 60. Last call. Sold for 55 to 68. Thank you, sir.
They sent us cassette tapes to practice before, so it was like $1 bid, now 2, now 2. So you're driving down the road doing that. Then what you do is you call your numbers up, and then you call your numbers down, and you go back and forth and back and forth, and then you pick a different increment, and you do it again, up and down until you learn to call without thinking.
In Great Britain, they don't talk like we do. They'll say, do I have an advance of 5,000? I have 5,000. Do I have an advance of 10,000? And they go just pretty much in that same speed. We in the United States find that that's quite boring, so we speed it up. So if you can imagine me saying, let me sell you this chair, who'll give me $10, $10, now 20, whereas if you go $10 bid and now 20 and then make it a little fast, pleasing sound, you can do it a whole lot faster. And that way you can move around and sell lots of things very quickly. The fast talking that we know here in the States actually started in the United States. But if the auctioneer can't be understood, then the crowd won't bid. So it's imperative that an auctioneer be clear, and they always say that clarity is better than speed. So if I can be at 150,000, now 175, and 200,000 to you, sir, now 225, you could easily understand that. And it sounds like I'm talking fast, and I can go faster than that. But really, all an auctioneer is doing is they're going from one number to the next to the next. But between those, they're putting in what we call filler words.
I have found that the more clear you are, the more people know where you are, and the more they'll buy. And our audience did include a lot of elderly people, and they would come up to me afterwards and say, thank you, we know what you're saying. So I did not chant, or do not chant, like a tobacco auctioneer or an automobile auctioneer. People need to know who is bidding. Lady over here in the green hat, gentleman in the back with the striped necktie or something along that line, and that way they know where they are, where they stand.
Now 350. 350, well, look at me 3.5, half, well, look at me 350, well, look at me 350, well, look at me 350, well, look at me 3.5, now 360.
The auctioneers in the Civil War, they used to call this what they called the auctioneers. They would have what they call the colonel, and it was actually a colonel in the regiment, for instance, and they would sell what they call the spoils of war, meaning that they would go in, and if they, in essence, took over a farm or whatever, they would sell the pigs, the hogs, or whatever, trying to raise money for the troops.
In this country, in the early part of this country, we were an English colony primarily. So our auctions were primarily for domesticated things, livestock, slaves, of course, land, produce, things like that. You didn't have we didn't have antiques. We didn't have a lot of wealthy people. But as time progressed, auctions progressed along with it.
20 now, 22 and a half, well, look at me 22, 50 now, 25, well, look at me 27 and a half, well, look at me 27, 50, well, look at me 30.
A lot of times the public doesn't realize all the preparation that an auctioneer goes through to get it from the beginning when it's sitting there, because most of what we sell is used goods. all we're doing is remarketing a used product, whether it be a used car, whether it be used furniture, whether it be antiques, whether it be antique glass. We're just remarketing that. We're taking that used product and remarketing.
We put ads in Maine Antique Digest, which is the big periodical. So we had a full page ad that showed illustrations plus the links to the websites. Then we used Auction Zip, which also does advertising. So that's a facilitator for the online auction. Then I use estatesales.net, which is another great resource where we go in, we put photographs, but they have captions and people can click on them and they'll blow them up and they can read the captions of what each object is.
Order signs, write copy. If we do TV, coordinate with the people doing the TV. And then I do, write the announcements, do the announcements. I'm a bid receiver. I do the open houses or previews. Everything from start to finish.
Why do you think people have a fascination with auctioneers and auctions?
It's like sometimes people like we're a party trick. My dad used to always laugh about that, and I find the same thing every time when I come to teach at the school, to teach chanting. First thing they want to do, first thing when I walk in the door, let's hear you auctioneer.
90, well, look at me, $100. $100, well, look at me, 100, you both have. $100 now, 110 now, 120, well, look at me, 120, or look at here now, 120, well, 690,
12,000, you go 12-1. I'm bid 12,000, you go 100 to $100, middle to bottom to $100 to $100, down to bottom to 100. I'm bid 12,100, you go 1-2. I'm bid 12,200, you go 4. 3, will you go 4? 4, will you go 5? Thank you, are you all in, are you all done? Going, 1, 2, 3, sold. Gentlemen, we want to thank you for your attendance, your attention, and your liberal bidding. If you have any real estate to sell, see Joe McDaniel, auctioneer. We'll put you in business or out. Thank you, and may the good Lord take a liking to you.
The National Auctioneers Association has been around since 1949 and includes 2 Virginians in its Hall of Fame.
In 1977, the association honored Morris Fannin from Pennington Gap in the Appalachians.
And in 1991, they inducted J.C.J. Corney of Whitfield, which is just south of Blacksburg. It's good to see these 2 men honored in this type of thing.
I agree, it is. And that does it for this special edition of VCU InSight. Thanks for joining us.
Don't forget to check us out online at insight.vcu.edu. I'm Brian Hill.
And I'm Melissa Smith. For all of us at VCU InSight, good night.